Take two. My name is Martina Raponi and I've been a member of RC51 since 2017. I am an independent artist, therefore my only affiliation is with myself and with my signature project, Noiserr. I will briefly talk about a research that I've been conducting about noise, voice and deafness. And for me the question is, what does it mean to use noise as an acoustemological device when we want to analyze deafness in systemic terms? To clarify the terminology that I use in the title, acoustemology is a term coined in sound studies which aims at developing epistemologies within the relationality embedded in the sonic, in sounding and in listening. So I will briefly talk about 9 points. The first one being soundscape. Soundscape is the sonic landscape that we're immersed into, and it is comprised of all those sounds that compose our everyday routines. Sounds that we do recognize as signals sometimes, and that do create a cultural, religious, sometimes infrastructural sense of belonging. Noise, on the other hand, is the disruption of the soundscape, and it is that sound that we can't recognize and that puts us on the alert. When connecting soundscape with bodies, I use an historical reference in some sociological studies that were advocating against the use of the Walkman when it was introduced into the mass market in the 80s. According to these studies, the Walkman isolated individuals from the shared sonic environment because they couldn't participate into the sociability that came with the soundscape, understood as cultural and audible. But there are also modes of existence that isolate people from the audible landscape, one of them being deafness. So my fourth point is a point of transition, and it is about how I interpret the body in this research, and I borrow for this division that Husserl does between, I want to apologize for my German, Körper, the measurable and medical body, and Leib, the lived and the living body. So the deaf are stigmatized as handicapped because their body is, in terms of a measurable and medical body, lacking something. And the history of the deaf is a painful history which led to the repression of their linguistic specificities, forcing them to imitate the fully abled bodies in order to fit into society and be included into society. And the reason for this is that the deaf are invisible handicapped. You can't immediately recognize deaf people unless they have cochlear implants, of course, and they become visible, in this case audible, when they speak. The deaf voice is then, in our sonic landscape, noise. It disturbs us, it shakes the listeners, it is an uncultured voice, an unfiltered voice that didn't develop with the help of oral feedback that could help the deaf to amend and correct their enunciation. So my last point is the aim of my research. My aim is to identify the voice, and specifically the deaf voice, as an acoustemological device to decode the normalized sonic landscape that we live in, and from there to analyze the systemic implications of what are the conditions that led the deaf voices to sound noisy in our normalized landscapes, while also advocating for a new understanding of soundscape beyond audibility, a soundscape that would include and connect all the lived and living bodies in more rhythm analytical and vibrotactile ways, meaning through a lower and more vibrating sonic texture.
Okay. Wow.